Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here once again. Now, some songs are a bit of a chore to play on guitar, some songs are boring to play on guitar, and some songs are just flat out loads of fun to play on guitar. This track, Mama Kin by Aerosmith, definitely falls into the latter category. Now, one of the best club bands that I ever played with back in the 80s was probably the best Aerosmith tribute band in Canada at the time, called Joe Mama. Before they switched gears shortly before I joined and dropped the whole Aerosmith tribute thing. We did hold on to a couple of tracks, however, and Mama Kin was one of them. And let me tell you, I look forward to it every single night because, like I said, it's simply one of the funnest songs that you'll ever play on the guitar. And with that said, let's close in, show you guys how to play it, yeah? Alright then, Joe Perry, Brad Whitford, Aerosmith, and Mama Kin from the band's debut album. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial. The main riff to this one and the first 4 bars of this track go something like this. That right there. So chord change for each bar, basically, starting with an E power chord, 3-finger power chord here at the 7th fret position, right? We're going to strike this 4 times. The 3rd time, we're going to lift our fingers off the 9 and then replace them. Kind of like that, right? Then you're going to back it up to a B power chord at the 2nd fret position, do the exact same thing. Then you're going to go off to A and play this little blues progression for 1 bar, bouncing off the 4-5-4 of the D string. And then up to E, do the exact same thing, bouncing off the 4 and the 5 of the A string, right? And you're going to repeat that 4 times at the beginning of this track. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th time you play through this progression, you're going to kickstart this E with a quick little down, up, down. At this point, we're dropping into the intro solo, right? So we're going to ride this E that we were just on into A, right? So we're going to hit that E a couple of times, drop into an F sharp, a G sharp, and then into A. Kind of like that, right? Just chromatically 2, 3, 4. Now, what we're playing here underneath the solo is also the pre-chorus. I'm going to show you how to play the rhythm underneath the solo because, like I said, it's also the pre-chorus. When we get to the pre-chorus, we won't have to show you how to play it. So it's an A blues progression up to an E blues progression for 1 bar. E, back to A, back to E for 2 bars. Back to A, back to E, then into F sharp. You just chug it for 2 bars, down to B for 2 bars, just chugging it. Then we're going to take this B, drop it off to G sharp, and chromatically ride it back to B and slide out of it. Kind of like that, right? So that is the pre-chorus, and it's also what we're soloing over. A, E for 2 bars. F sharp for 2 bars, down to B for 2 bars, hit it 2 more times, back it up to G sharp, move it back into B, slide out of it, then we're back into the main riff again. For 2 repeats. Now leading into the first verse, we're going to hang in E for 4 bars. Right? And now the vocals come in. However, we have to back up and have a look at that intro solo. So the intro solo is in E. We're using a combination of the Dorian scale and the blues scale. So we get this same kind of pattern all the way down the top 3 strings, the G, B, and the high E. 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, right? On the B and the high E, there's your Dorian, right? Dorian scale's a great substitute over the pentatonic for soloing over a blues progression, right? And on the G string, you know, there's our blue note there, our flat fifth on the 15th fret of the G string. So we get that same pattern all the way down the top 3 strings. So let's run through this. So that is the solo there, starting on 14 of the high E, little half step bend release, and then you're going to string skip up to the 12 of the G, and then drop onto the 14 of the D. Then you're going to string skip down to the 12 of the B, and then go 15, 14, 12 of the G up to 14 of the D. Going to hit that 14 again, down to the 12 of the G, and back to the 14. And then we're into that. So we're going to take that 14 of the D, drop it down to 14 of the G, go 12, 14 of the B, 2 little half step bends, and then you release it off to 12. Right? And then we're into this. So we're just holding a little bar here. We're going to keep pedaling off the 12 of the G with pull-offs from 14 to 12 of the B. And I think we're going to repeat this like 6 or 7 times. And then finally a little double hit of that 12 and then 14 off to 12 of the B, right? Kind of like that. Then we're going to roll back up to the 12 of the G and then back to the 14 of the high E for another little half step bend release. Right? Into that. Off to 12. 15, 14, 12 of the B. Roll it up to the 12 of the G, back it up to 11. Double hit of the 14 of the D, down to a double hit 12 of the B. And at this point we're going to have a key change, but so before we do, let's recap that. Now we're going to have a key change off to F sharp here, and we're going to drop into this. So 4 of the high E, little half step bend release, and then we're going to go 2, 4, 2 of the B. And then you're going to roll up to the 2 of the G. And then you're going to back that off to 1, and when you back it off to 1, you're going to go right into a little half step bend. Release the bend back to the natural note, and then start a little trill here between 1 and 2, right? Kind of like that. And now we're going to drop into B, and we're going to move up here to the 7s and 9s. And finish the solo with that. So 7 on to 9, little half step bend release. 7 of the B up to 7 of the G. Then you're going to do 3 bends on that 9, kind of like little half step bends, release it off to 7, right? And then we're into this. So after you do those 3 bends, and release it off to 7, you're going to do a little trill between 7 and 10, up to the 9 of the G, down to the 7 of the B, back up to the 7 of the G, and then you're going to do 3 half step bends up to the flat 5th blue note, right? And with little double mutes between each one. Kind of like that, right? and that is the solo. So let's take it from the top. Right? And that is the solo. So like I said, then we drop back into the main riff for 2 repeats. Hanging E for 4 bars. And then the first verse starts. So while we're hanging in that E for 4 bars, he's doing a couple of little licks here on the 2/4 of the D. Just something like that. Simple little... just a little lick, something like that, right? It's kind of incidental. And then we drop into the first verse. Finally, it takes a long time to get to the first verse in this one. And we're going to play the main riff again, but every time we go off to E, we're going to hang in it for 2 bars. A, E for 2 bars. And repeating 4 times. Bars. Pre-chorus. Right, you're going to ride that E into A. We've already learned this, right? A, E for 2 bars. Back to A, E, into F sharp for 2 bars. Down to B for 2 bars, ride it back to G sharp, back into B, slide out of it, into the second verse. The second verse is going to be half as long as the first verse. 2 bars in E, right? Now, into the second pre-chorus, right? 2 bars of E, back to A, back to E, into F sharp, leading into the chorus now, down to B, gonna ride it into B again. Now, we're finally into the chorus. So when we ride back into B, you're gonna hit that B twice, drop it down to E, slide out of it, and you're going to repeat that 4 times. Keep in touch with Mama Kin. Tell her where you've gone and been. Living out your fantasy. Sleeping late and smoking tea, I think he says there. So, and now we're going to repeat this for the second half of the chorus, but we're going to add to it. So after we get down to E, we're going to move up here to A, hit that 3 times, back it up to G, and then move it up to D, right? And repeat that 4 times. And after you repeat it 4 times, when we drop into D there, we're going to back it off to C for 1 bar, or 2 bars, and then back off to B for 2 bars, and then off to A for 4 bars. And there's like a little saxophone solo here. And then we're back into the next verse. Another abbreviated verse, right? Ride it in. Pre-chorus. Sharp again, and down to B, ride it back into B from G sharp, bum, 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 into another chorus, right, same as the other chorus, bum, 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 4 times of that, Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. And then we're going to go up to A, off to G. Four times. Now, we're right at the end of the track here. We're going to take this D, back it up to C again, back into D, and right at the end of the track, we're going to drop into this rather dissonant D6 chord. Right, and just bounce off the low E string after every strike of that. And you're going to strike that like 6 or 7 times. It's 12 of the D, 11 of the G, 12 of the B. Right, and then finally off to E, end of track. And that, my friends, is how you play Mama Kin by Aerosmith. Certainly hope you enjoyed that, found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button right down there. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind. Hope you're well out there, and we'll see you next time, yeah? Cheers.